I should probably start off by apologising for the fact that by the time this vlog goes out, I think it will be about 3 days late. And that's largely because last week I had a real productive spurt of momentum with a bit of writing that I'm currently doing. And as that doesn't happen particularly often, or certainly not as often as I'd like it to, I thought it best to not interrupt that. But that did mean that I got a vital piece of work finished, a little bit of background writing that I've been really working on for ages, and it's taken me a little while to get my head around. So that's really, really positive. So what I was going to talk about on Friday, and what I am now going to talk about now, is being interdisciplinary. So for those of you that might not be aware, a piece of research is described as interdisciplinary when it sits between two fields. So for example, my PhD research is on the representation of regional English cities in contemporary theatre. So although I sit within the Department of Drama at the university, and theatre is very much my focus, because I'm looking at how kind of geography, how cities and kind of spatiality are represented within theatre, I also have to do a lot of reading around geography. Now, since I became aware that this was a thing, I've actually found that a lot of research within arts or within kind of culture more generally do tend to sit within an interdisciplinary space. And I think as we move forward, academia generally is getting less and less het up about kind of how we separate out different bits of research into subjects or fields, and actually embracing the nature of taking in more than one field in a particular piece of research. Particularly bits of work that are on representation, like I look at, whether that's within the media or whether it's within pieces of art or pieces of culture, are almost definitely going to be interdisciplinary, because naturally a piece of research that is about representation of something in something else will have to look at some of the issues and research surrounding the thing that's being represented, as well as the form that it's being represented in. Just as I look at all the research surrounding regional cities, and then I look at research surrounding dramaturgy and theatre, and then kind of piece all of that together. I've certainly found the fact that my research is interdisciplinary to be really quite fun, because as well as researching theatre and continuing that work, it's also given me the opportunity to embrace an entire new field that I'd previously not read an awful lot about. But there comes with that a certain challenge, in that I tend to find learning new things really, really exciting. I suppose that's something about why I ended up doing a PhD in the first place. But I do often find myself drawn a little bit too much into the geography field, and I can spend kind of a couple of weeks reading very intensely about regional cities, and actually find that I'm losing track of my theatre research a little bit. And actually, when doing a bit of interdisciplinary research, the feeling that I'm getting is that it's very much key to make sure you're always keeping your feet in both fields and not finding yourself wandering off towards one or the other. I know I tend to wander off into the geography field because I feel I know quite a lot of the theatre field, and that actually it's quite exciting to wander off into that completely new area of research to me. But occasionally I have to remind myself that I don't know everything within the theatre field, and actually there is an awful lot in there that I still need to read that is going to be pertinent to my research. In many ways it often feels like a bit of a tug of war, on one hand of which I've got theatre, on the other hand of which I've got kind of geography and urban studies, and they're constantly pulling me in either direction. And the real key, I think, is to making sure that you stay on that line in between. Another challenge is that you often have to learn completely new terminologies and new methodologies for research. And that again is really exciting, but can be a real challenge when you're suddenly trying to engage at a PhD level on some research that is in a completely new field. But ultimately I found it really, really enjoyable, and I'd certainly suggest to anyone that's thinking about doing a bit of research that to be able to take in a completely new field is actually much less daunting than you'd imagine, and is actually quite exciting. I've certainly not completely mastered this myself though, so if anyone has any advice for doing any interdisciplinary research and how to make sure that you're staying within both fields at the same time, then please do let me know. I'm going to try and catch up on my schedule. I've done really well for 10 weeks, so hopefully there'll be a new video out towards the end of this week as well. Thank you very much and have a great week.